Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to What's the Point podcast. I'm Ford Webster.
I'm Luke Davis.
I'm Ella Attaway.
It's really a pleasure to be here with you guys, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to film a podcast with you guys. So let's jump right into it. What's the most embarrassing moment that you've had on stage while worshiping at Hope?
It wasn't really me playing on stage or worshiping on stage. It was like I was around 6 at the time, and Pastor Rufus had a sermon where he wanted a kid to be on his shoulders while he preached. And I think maybe it was Mr. Keith who volunteered me to be that kid on Pastor Rufus's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And Pastor Rufus is bald, right?
Yes, he is.
So I did not know where to put my hands. So
oh my gosh.
No joke, I'm just doing this the entire time, like elbows out on top of his head, and it's just how my hands were hovering over his head.
That's hilarious.
It wasn't embarrassing when I was 6, but when I think back on it,
you're like, what?
I was like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I'm going to be honest with you. This morning, I'm not going to lie to you, they didn't have half the song in the thing, and it was the one verse that I did not know. And it was awful, but they figured it out after I was done with the one verse that I needed to know, and I messed it up in front of everybody. But you know what? I got through it. Either that or one time before I started like leading and singing and stuff, I was playing acoustic guitar. I normally play electric back in the day. And I ended the song on the complete wrong chord. And it was just, everybody went dead silent, and I just played it. It was awful.
And you're like,
it was
oh
awful.
My gosh.
I still remember the chord that I ended on. It was a D chord, and it was supposed to end on a G chord. It's okay.
Well, it's not too bad.
It was bad.
For me, I think the most embarrassing moment that I've had is, actually, I just thought of it while you were talking, is I don't remember exactly what song it was. I think it was during our Christmas concert that we had here.
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
I don't remember you messing up like a lot.
Maybe it wasn't during Christmas. Anyways, it was during sometime, and I know we didn't rehearse the whole song, and that's totally on me. Like, now I know we got to go over the whole song, and I don't ever remember the lyrics just keep going and going, and the song kept going. I was like, verse 4, and I sang, and then verse 5. I'm like, we have another verse 6, and I had no idea what. I don't remember the song, but that was like so embarrassing because everybody totally knew I was thrown off. And I was just like, oh my gosh, God, just please get me through this. Please get me through this. So yeah, that's really kind of the most embarrassing moments I've had on stage.
The in-ears are so intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it'll just be like this one, and then I'm like, I wasn't ready for that one. This one now, and then I'm like, when? And then just the click, and then it doesn't get right, and then I can't hear somebody. The in-ears are so intimidating.
Yeah. The good thing about embarrassing moments or mistakes on stage is that you always learn from it.
Yeah,
and
hopefully other people can.
You can always just turn it into something good. Mm-hmm. So most of the time.
When?
After the fact.
Oh yeah.
You're like,
yeah,
well,
not in the moment at all.
Well, now I know.
Not in a voice crack. You'd be like, oh yeah, I meant to do that.
Oh yeah.
Completely.
Voice crack.
Months later.
Complete jazz moment.
For sure. Well, how has worship improved since you've been here, Luke? Because I know you've been here kind of the longest of most of us here.
It got like a whole lot bigger. I think when I first started it, it was like I was in the middle school, and one of the leaders at the time was playing guitar, and I played cajon. It's like every Sunday. Then it started evolving and getting bigger and bigger into like what it is now. And it's like it wasn't really emphasized as much back then as it is now.
Yeah. For sure. Hello.
When I first started, I can't remember when I first started, but I remember when they were like, hey, we need people to do this, and I just started learning, like not just started learning, but I wasn't that good at guitar, I'm gonna be honest. And they were like, we need people.
Oh, gotta start somewhere, huh?
And then my friend was like, do it, and I was like, there's no way you're gonna get me up on that stage. There's no way. I suck. There's no way. A couple weeks later, it's like, we need people still. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. You know what? I have nothing better to do with my life. And so I did do it. And then a couple months later, Ford over here was like, hey, can you sing? I'm like, absolutely not. There's absolutely no way that I can sing. I'm not gonna try. And there's no way that you're gonna get me up on that stage.
And what'd you do this Sunday morning?
I sung up on that stage as I do every single week now. So, you know, I just did it. And I remember Ford, last October, Ford texted me. I barely knew Ford at all. And he was like, yo, how can I get up on the worship team? And I'm like, yo, I got you. Just do this, do this.
Because you remember you were trying to get me on there for months.
I was like, Ford, we need you. Like, Ford, we need you.
I don't know. It was so weird. I don't know why that I never committed, because Forrest James, the guy that does our in-ears and the main stage, was like, dude, what are you doing down? Like, why are you not going to the youth group? Because I was singing in the choir at the time. I still do. Love my choir fam. Shout out to you. But it was just crazy because he was like, yo, go down to the youth group. Like, they need you down there. And then it actually wasn't until Marquis Walker, I believe, saw Chris Johnson in a Kroger or a Walmart or something like that. And he was like, who is that kid in the blue hat that always stands at the top riser? Like, he's just always into it. He's singing. And he was like, oh, it's Ford. And I was like, man, I've heard about him around here. And he's like, why didn't he come down? And then I texted you and I was like, hey, what can I do? And you said, text Chris. And that's how I got involved with this. But how has worship improved? Honestly, like, it's really been a blessing just to be a part of this. And I got here in November of last year of 2023. And it was crazy. That was actually my first time leading worship in front of people. And the improvement that we have made over the past,
for sure.
Yeah.
For
sure.
sure.
I
don't even know how many months what is it, June? Is just outstanding. And it's just such a blessing to be able to see us as a youth and a worship band to minister to young people, and they're really connecting. Because there are so many people around this church that are like, man, the youth band is killing it. Like, we got the family experience gig. We got, we played at, what's the event we just played at a couple months ago? The Mackie and Friends event.
Oh, I wasn't there.
Me neither.
Well, the youth band got the Mackie and Friends event. It's just a blessing to see what God has been able to do throughout this ministry, and it's really just blessing so many people. So
yeah. How would you say the band has improved y'all as individuals? Like, whether it be like worship or music or band?
Well, like, I used to get, when I was, before, like, this year, when I was playing on stage, I used to get so hung up on whenever I messed up or anything like that. But, like, I heard, it was Marquis was telling us, like, during one of the meetings, that give it all to God and, like, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember we had this one Wednesday in particular. Those words were echoing in my head, and I was like, just give it all to God. And that was like such a good concert, such a good worship, and it was like, man, this really works.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's crazy when we think about what we're doing as what really a whole, when you really focus on God when you're worshiping and not the actual music itself. That's for later time for you to practice and for you to rehearse. And so when you get here, your time is focusing on God and to lead the people into worship. And I honestly think that's one of the most important things about leading worship is like coming prepared and leaving room in your heart for God,
for sure,
so that you can minister to other people. And so improving me as a person, honestly, is just being able to see me grow as a leader. And to see you guys grow is just, and all my peers around me, is just crazy. I've seen so much growth in other people. It's just wild to even think about. So we're just doing amazing things right here. So
for me, before this, I never played in a band before. I had no clue. Before this, I was just sitting in my room practicing some songs, never really learning how to play guitar. I was self-taught still, not getting anywhere. And then I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna join. And so I did. And I started learning. I played electric guitar, and I was just playing the chords every now and then. I would be like, And then Adam was like, how about you play acoustic? I'm like, fine, I'll play acoustic. And then I played acoustic. And then he's like, you know what, Ella? Go be up and lead. And I was like, okay. So first time singing ever, as everyone can tell. Like first time like really being on stage. Like I've talked on stage before because, you know, it's me, pastor's kid. And so, but I like really leading and worshiping, and I never really thought that I had a gift to be a guitar player, like musically inclined at all. So I got to see like me grow and really get involved in worship, because over PCB, our last youth trip, seeing the band that we got, and I just like understood it more. Like I understood worship more, and I got it more, and I could like enjoy worship more instead of like, you know, I can't explain it, hard.
I mean, two things that really point out what you just said is enjoying the worship. I think sometimes we forget as musicians that lead people into worship is it's so important for us to take rest and to just take a mental break away and just sit out in the congregation with everybody else and enjoy worship like everybody else will. Because sometimes we don't realize like the work that goes into this. But of course we all love it and we have the right posture, heart posture to do it. And but I think that's so important, is just taking time away and stepping aside and just being a part of the normal congregation, so that you can enjoy worship yourself.
Yeah, as for me, I know that like it was more like through school, work, and like different types of things, and then I would have to that's how it was, like I have to practice, I have to do this. And then through last week when I didn't play at all and I could enjoy worship, this morning was like so much more special to me, because I had like, it wasn't an obligation anymore. It was just like me worshiping, and I got to enjoy it more. So that was something I like to do. Yeah,
it's crazy. People ask me like, do you get nervous? I'm like, no, I don't get nervous when I'm worshiping. It's because like I'm not doing it for these people. Yeah, I'm doing it for God, and He'll work through me so that they can see Him through us, and that's just so special. And like this is an honor to be able to lead worship in front of these people. I hope you guys think the same.
Yes.
But actually, it's funny. I remember the first time I did this, I was like, I always used to play and sing, like just in my room by myself. And then I didn't realize how hard it was to do it in front of people. So I was like, da da da. Oh, I ain't even playing the right chord. And it was just crazy. So anyways,
I thought about something. So you know, like verses about not worrying and stuff.
Yeah.
So like before any concert other than like worshiping, you will see me like shaking in my boots because I'm scared. But then if I'm like giving it to God before those concerts or like before the worship, then I'm not worried anymore. And so it's like giving it, like verses about giving your worry to God and stuff like that, you know?
It's funny, I just was about to pull out my phone to search for some scriptures, but my lock screen is actually a really good scripture. It's Isaiah 41:10. It's one of my favorite verses. Do not fear, for I am with you. And I think that comes into play with worship, because there can be fear that goes into it, like the mental aspect of, oh, what are people going to think of me?
Yes.
Do I sound bad? Well, is it embarrassing to even do this? Because is it not the cool thing to do? And so this verse just reminds us that don't fear, that He's always with you. He's going to be with you through the midst of it all. And it's just really special to know that.
I remember when I first started getting up there, like my heart rate was so high. I'd look down at my Apple Watch and it'd be like 150. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I doing this? And I'd literally be shaking. I was dizzy. And like, I don't know, this like I said, like PCB, bro, it changed me through worship because I got like rest. And then now like I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like I used to see people at school and I'm like, what are they gonna say about me? And I see them at school, but like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're like talking about me. And when like they know people that I know that I don't like, and they're gonna be saying stuff about me. And I'm just like, you know what? Let them say stuff. Who cares? Like I know I'm not experienced.
Hey, I know a few times you can be like, or any of us can be like, you go around and be like, hey, that sound good? But I mean, I had a tendency to do that for a while, and then I just realized, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right?
it really does.
But at the end of the day, it's not what you're doing it for. Yeah, you want to sound good, and you should take it very seriously. But at the end of the day, that's not the ultimate goal. So
Yeah, before I heard Marquis give that talk about giving it to God, before I got up on stage or any stage, you could see me visibly start sweating and stuff. And, like, my face would turn red because I was so scared. But then it's kind of like what Ella says, you can give it to God, and also, like, who cares what people think about you?
Yeah, like I remember there's like an in-between to just, because I know if you're playing bad, then it's hard, people are just focusing on you being bad.
yeah,
So if you're playing mediocre or average, then people are like drawn to worship. And then if you're playing too good, they're gonna be focused on like, oh my gosh, you're so good. But like I know the church should be focused toward God, not what man has. So I want people, when they hear me worship, I want them to focus on God, not on how good I am or how bad I am. I want them to find that in between. So that's my goal when I go up.
yeah. It's weird to think with the age group that we have, 6th to 12th grade, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of them can be totally focused on how good we were playing or how bad we were playing. And so I think that comes us being as a team is to just really perfect our craft and try to perfect it so that they don't just, their minds don't start wandering off during worship like, man, he sucks, or man, she cannot sing, what is she doing up there? But I feel like if you have the right heart posture and you showing it on stage that you're just
Confidence.
you're in for God, then that kind of goes away with this age group. But like one thing I love about Hope is, like, especially being on frontline and in the choir, is just like we're so not doing it for the people, we're doing it for God. And some people can have miscommunications, I call it sometimes, is like, this is too big of a production or whatever the case may be. And it's like, if you really looked at our heart posture and like the way we conduct ourselves on stage and the way that we show emotion on stage, is like, we are doing this for God, for the kingdom, for his glory to shine through us, so that the other people can just count it all a blessing, and we count it all a blessing. And it's just really amazing to see people grow in their faith while we lead them in worship.
Yeah, when I was up on stage during worship, I used to be like the drummer who tried to show off all his chops and stuff.
Yes.
Like, I used to be that guy. And then I vividly remember I was getting off stage, and then Emily came up and said, "Nice drum solo, Luke," into the microphone. I was like, oh man, I gotta change something.
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, I gotta make it about God and not me.
Yeah.
So,
well, I must say, being a acoustic guitar player and singing is, can't really show off.
No.
Like, you can't just be playing random riffs.
No,
right?
electric for me. I remember when we played one like secular song, Taylor Swift, and they cut my solo. And I went down there, and they didn't cut my solo on purpose. Like, the thing was just off. I couldn't hear me. Adam apparently said
who's
they
the
couldn't.
they?
Huh?
Who cut you off?
I don't know. And if you
Was it
are the
me?
one that cut me off, I'm coming after you. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't care that much.
Adam's behind the camera.
Adam.
Yeah, shout out
I
to
hold
Adam.
grudges, bud. Anyway, so Taylor Swift, okay? I could not hear my solo. And I come down to the table, and I'm just like distraught. Like, I'm like, I worked on that solo. Like, this is the first time I got a solo. I'm so upset. And then I'm like, wait a minute, who cares, bro? Who cares? It's Taylor Swift. It's a secular song. I'm not even lifting anybody up to God. This was stupid. Anyway, but yeah, don't be a show off, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lift him toward God.
Yeah.
Make it about God and not you.
Yep. Or Taylor Swift.
All for his glory to shine through the people.
Amen.
Oh yeah, we
Okay,
gonna
Ford.
start preaching up in here.
Ford.
No, shout
You
out,
put that in there.
shout out to Adam Long behind the camera.
Woo!
He's doing a great job with all these podcasts, and it's just really a blessing to be on here and to have the platform that we do at Hope, to share the good news of the gospel, and to have all these talented, amazing young men and women to really just shine and just give God the glory, because that's the main goal. So yeah.
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 Is that a wrap?
I think you
Is
should
that
do
a
an
wrap?
outro with you doing your vocal warm ups, or you just start screaming out of nowhere. I think you should just do that.
No,
Oh, yeah,
that's,
You should go just like randomly like that, yeah, all the time. That should be our
Falsetto
outro.
warm-ups or something.
And the in ears and the mics, and you're just screaming all the time.
because he lives.
No.
Yeah, like as a joke, I sometimes just start playing with you when you.
I know. Yeah, we'll be in rehearsal or something, or right before we go on, and I'll just be playing some random thing, and then Luke will give me a little beat. I'm like, all right, we're gonna start playing on
I have videos where I'm trying to practice, and then Forrest just over here like and then he comes up to me just like, why do you only have one in ear? I'm like,
I have a
because I can't
tendency
hear
of being-
myself because you're
I
screaming.
have a tendency to being really loud in the
And then I
mic,
have a video of you
everybody's
just like,
"Hey,
Jesus.
Forrest, can I get Ford turned down?" I'm
Ella,
like,
you're just
wow.
like, hey, can I get Ella turned down a lot? And I'm just like, wow, buddy,
Listen, your guitar's really loud.
I can't hear it at all.
Okay.
All I want to hear is Ford, his guitar, and the click. That's all I want to hear.
You don't want to hear me go, no, 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 no. I play the Cars theme in between, like every time in between songs, and nobody has noticed this yet. I go, nobody's noticed yet.
Yeah, no.
I'm just like, I'm really hurt by this.
Yeah, you think nobody's noticed yet?
Nobody said anything. Like they just look at me weird. I'm like, okay.
Well, that means that they noticed you.
Well, they noticed it. They
Sounds
just
like-
don't. I want somebody to like care.
They're like, what is she doing?
But it's fun.
Well, I think that's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. Ford Webster.
Luke Davis.
Ella Attaway.
See you next time. Peace.